Did you ever wonder what would happen if Gabby didn't shoot Eren? Or what if this guy ate Eren and inherited his Titan powers? Or even better, could the real-life modern military stop the rumbling? Eren's founding Titan looks like this. It's literally just a bunch of bones and looks nothing similar to the previous founding Titans in the series. Well, what if I tell you that the one responsible for this was none other than Gabby? Although she didn't kill Eren when she shot him, she managed to split his body and head. And later, when Eren transformed, you can clearly see here that the bones grew out from his head. This means that if Gabby didn't shoot him before he touched Zeke, it's most likely that his entire body would transform and his Titan form would look completely different. Judging by the other founding Titan users throughout the series, his appearance would probably look similar to his Attack Titan form with bones protruding from his body, similar to Ymir. He would also be much bigger. I did some research online, and it seems that Eren's current form is at minimum around 600 meters in length. This means that if he wasn't shot and his full body was transformed normally, he would be at least 10 times bigger than the Wall Titans. Another interesting thing is that in this scenario, Eren would be able to defend himself against other Titan shifters and warriors instead of just walking around. Okay, this all sounds pretty cool, but what would happen after he transforms? Well, there are actually many things that would play out differently this time around. For starters, the Alliance couldn't land on top of Eren, as he would now walk normally on 2 legs. Also, Armin's plan to transform and destroy Eren with an explosion would also not work now, as Eren could easily harden his body to avoid any damage. If this version of Eren could ever be defeated, he would be way overpowered. The only thing the Alliance could do is land on Eren's shoulders and try to break into his nape and pull out his human form. But let's be honest with ourselves. The chances of them pulling off something like this, no pun intended, are really slim. And the only way they could win is if Eren lets them. Meaning if Eren wants to continue the rumbling, he could easily destroy the entire world, and there would be no one capable of stopping him. Man, I guess we should be thanking Gabby for shooting him after all. There are still 3 scenarios left to cover, and the last one will blow your mind if the modern real-world military could stop the rumbling. In the show, the combined military of the entire world was completely helpless against the army of Wall Titans. They tried shooting them from the water with ships, from the land with artillery, and even tried throwing bombs on them from planes. However, even after all that, they've only managed to kill a few Titans. Judging by the weapons and the technology in the Attack on Titan world, we can safely say that they probably lived somewhere between the 1910s and the 1920s. Since then, technology has evolved greatly, and we now have much stronger weapons than ever before. So, if the rumbling was to happen in the real world, would we be able to defend ourselves? According to fans' calculations, there should be roughly 500,000 colossal Titans in the rumbling. To put this into perspective, let's take one of the largest armies in the world, the US Army. It currently has around 1 million active members. So just imagine half of the US Army is 60 meters tall colossal Titans. Okay, now that you understand just how big the rumbling is, let's see if the world could do anything to stop it. It's that colossal Titans are pretty fast, and it was stated they move around 65 kilometers per hour. This means that the Army's stationary artillery weapons would be pretty much useless, as the rumbling would catch up within minutes and completely destroy them. A similar thing would also happen with ships, which would also be crushed pretty quickly as they have nowhere to escape. Now, although everything so far would happen pretty much the same as in the anime, I believe the army would be able to kill much more Titans than Marley did. However, even if by some miracle they managed to kill, let's say, 50,000 Titans, it's still pretty much nothing compared to their numbers. So, does that mean that even the modern army has no chance against the Titans? Well, not exactly, as the modern army has something they didn't have 100 years ago: nukes. Okay, so just throw a few nukes and that's it, right? You see, judging by the information I could find, the average blast radius of a nuclear bomb is around 10 kilometers, which means that if the army wanted to cover the entire rumbling with nukes, they would probably need more than 500 nuclear bombs. That would obviously be impossible since it would wipe out the entirety of humanity. It doesn't really have to kill every single Titan to survive. Remember chapter 137? As soon as Levi killed Zeke, the entire rumbling stopped. You probably see where I'm going with this. If the army can throw just one bomb right on Eren's founding Titan, it should be enough to immediately stop the rumbling. I know this is kind of anticlimactic, but considering how the rumbling is activated through Eren and Zeke, this plan should work. So, if you ever have a dream like this, don't worry, you should be safe. Probably. Before we explain what would happen if Eren inherited the colossal Titan instead of Armin, if this pure Titan ate Eren properly and inherited his Titan powers. Although the main character dying so early in the show seems really bad, there are actually some really interesting things that would happen in this scenario. Okay, firstly, Who even is this guy? Some of you may think that he is just a random Titan who was actually one of the main members of Eldian restorationists back in Marley. You can clearly see him in this picture. Okay, now that we know who he is, how will the story progress from there? After eating Eren, he would turn back into his human form, and from there, it's most likely that the Corps would imprison him underground and try to question him. And here comes the first major change. Since this guy is the Eldian restorationist, he would tell the Corps everything about Marley and the outside world. Just imagine them learning all of this in episode 5. It would be game-changing. This also means they would have no reason to go to Shigashina, as all secrets would already be revealed. Another thing they would realize is that both colossal and armored Titans must be humans, and that they are probably living among them. Royal family would be really scared by this development, as everyone now knows about them. So it's likely they would just keep hiding and observing the situation. Now that the Survey Corps knows that they live on the island and that there is a limited amount of Titans outside, they will probably go out and slowly kill Titans one by one, similar to how they did during the time skip. Since the Corps never attempted to go to Shigashina, that also means that they never fought Annie, meaning that all 3 warriors would still be undercover on the island. Eventually, after some time, Deke and Zeke would arrive and start transforming people into Titans, same as in the original story. Everyone, including the new attack Titan, would go out there and try to stop them. With Zeke's appearance, it's finally time for warriors to act, and together with Zeke and Peak, they should be able to defeat the new attack Titan and the Survey Corps pretty easily. Another thing that'll make the scouts' defeat certain is Amir, who will make a deal with Marley in order to save his story. 6 Titans would attack the Corps at the same time, and no matter how good Eren is at strategizing, they would stand absolutely no chance against them. In the end, the warriors would return to Marley victorious, and both the attack and Jaw Titans would be passed on to the new holders. Marley would soon launch another attack on the island, completely destroying the remnants of the walls. I'm glad this dude didn't eat Eren properly. Finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, what would happen if Erwin inherited Colossal Titan instead of Armin? There are some insane things that would happen in this version. Firstly, Erwin would make it to the basement and realize his father was right about everything. On the other hand, Eren would be even more mad and depressed than before, as not only did he learn that there are people outside of the walls, but one of his best friends is also dead. His hatred toward Marley and the outside world would grow even further than before, and he would want to take revenge as soon as possible. After some time had passed, the Survey Corps would clean the island of Titans and start planning their attack on Marley. Everything would play out pretty much the same from here, with Eren going rogue and attacking on his own, with the Survey Corps supporting him. However, the main difference here is that Eren is much tougher than Armin and is prepared to do whatever is necessary. After blowing up the port, the commander would start walking towards Eren in order to help him in his battle against other warriors. With both Eren and Erwin now fighting, the battle would be much easier, and they would manage to defeat all the warriors. Instead of just leaving, Erwin wouldn't waste this opportunity to try and steal their powers, as it would make it impossible for Marley to launch any sort of counterattack. With this, the raid is a complete success. Eren and Erwin ate all warriors, Zeke sided with them, and even Sasha survived. Although Paradise Island now has all Titans' powers, their safety still isn't guaranteed. The outside world is more terrified of Eldians than ever before, and if nothing is done about them, they will surely retaliate at some point. Knowing Eren's personality and how much he wants to keep his friends safe, he would see the rumbling as the only option for permanent peace. He would trick Zeke and gain the Founder's power. Thousands of Colossal Titans will start marching toward other nations, but no one willing to stop them. Armin and the warriors are dead in this version, so the only person capable of stopping Eren would be Erwin. But would he? Well, if we reflect on Erwin's character throughout the series, I think it's really unlikely he would try to stop Eren. He is not as naive as some of the other Corps members, and even though he wouldn't like Eren's plan and consider it extreme, he would let it happen. Eren would completely destroy the entire world, leaving no one outside the walls alive. To keep the peace he created, Eren would eradicate the Titan powers from the world so history never repeats itself again. Click on this video where we explained 40 secret things you didn't know about Eren Yeager.
Reccap trend.